Glenn is not humanity's most enthusiastic person.
It's a gemstone mine. Down to 2. This is a faithless looting. Someone's got a pretty dredge deck.
Oh, yeah. This is a labor of love.
Draw 1. And draw 2 in just a moment here. He is owed another card with the faithless looting. There we go. We'll make sure he doesn't forget that. So some discarding to be done here for Moreno. Checking to see if he has a dredger in his hand. Looks like he does. Okay, so there's a Grave Troll.
Yes, he does.
Question is, does he have another one? How good can things be? You see a bridge from below there. And Icarid. Let's see very many foil ones of those.
No, you had to go pretty deep. I mean, it only got printed the one time.
Yeah. Jones going to draw his card. Volcanic Island here. A couple lightning bolts as well. Going to start with a polluted delta. This is a ponder.
And Glenn already in a ton of trouble.
You know, what's interesting is if this blue-red Delver deck really starts to pick up, and it has definitely increased in popularity since Bob Wang's win in New Jersey, Dredge seems like a very good deck against it, actually.
It does, but there's always that thing where there's a lot of people who are just not willing to play Dredge in a tournament.
Yeah. Or players who are not willing to lose to Dredge in a tournament.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. Though Dredge is certainly not the monster it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, not at all.
Back when it was arguably, I think, Legacy's best deck. It's not like that anymore. But there are still some people out there packing a lot of Tormod scripts.
Gonna keep it the ponder, draw a mystery card. Untap the Gemstone Mine. We're dredging. 6 cards coming here from the Grave Troll. Cabal Therapy, Stinkweed Imp, Faithless Looting, Cephalic Coliseum, a Cabal Therapy, and a Faithless Looting. Easy enough. There is a dredger there. See, Moreno can put together for his second turn of the game.
He's got some Putrid Imps.
Yep.
Should be nice so he can discard even more of his hand.
There's a second land and Mana Confluence. He'll take 1, play the Imp. See if he wants to play anything else. Just going to pass the turn back for now, it seems. Jones looking at his hand. Perhaps maybe he has a card like Force of Will here for the Imp?
Well,
or at least bluffing.
Well, if he doesn't Force of Will this, I don't think he's going to really Force of Will anything else for the rest of the game.
I think that's the case, yeah.
Joseph's going to have way too much velocity at that point.
So the Imp is in. Jones will draw a card. Swift Spear, I believe, is what he's found. Going to play a Misty Rainforest. Take a look at the bin there. No bridges just yet. Again, a couple copies of Cabal Therapy, a Stinkweed Imp down there. There's a bridge in Joseph Moreno's hand.
And I like Joseph trying to slow roll it a little bit until he's ready to get value out of it. No reason to just stick it in your graveyard, have your Putrid Imp get bolted, and lose it for nothing.
Swift Spear will join the party. An attack for 1. Joseph going to count so many cards in your graveyard. You have achieved Threshold, which means the Putrid Imp, well, I can't block.
Can't even block, even if it wanted to.
It sure wishes. See Moreno's hand. There's a Dread Return there as well. And discard the Grave Troll. It's time to go dredging, it seems. This looks like it was all in the upkeep. So, don't know if he has any interest in bringing back Icarid or not. He'd have to remove his Stinkweed Imp to do so.
But I'm not sure what else is really going on with the Stinkweed Imp at this point. He has no other ways to draw cards. And he already has his best dredger, which is a Grave Troll. So it seems like it's kind of free to get the Icarid back at this stage.
That's what he's going to do. And now it's time to dredge this bad boy. So 6 cards, Mana Confluence, a Careful Study, an Icarid, a Dark Blast, a Golgari Thug, and a Stinkweed Imp. The 1 of Dark Blast showing up to the party.
I can get behind a 1 of Dark Blast.
I'm a big Dark Blast guy. Take that, Elves deck.
There's some matchups where it flips it around entirely. and you're replacing, you know, probably something that's pretty equivalent in power level. I wouldn't want to play more than the one, but I can definitely get behind one in the main deck.
And there are matchups where it just swings everything.
Yep. Elves, goblins, sometimes against burn. Decks where that effect is so good. Death and Taxes.
Yeah, it's very
Does
good.
not want to
them.
play against that card.
There's an attack for 5. And Jones going to take it right in the face. What do we have here? Another imp? Yes. Moreno building a nice little board here.
Though Joseph has still not done anything too impressive.
No, just really playing a normal game of Magic at this point.
No Narcomoebas, no, you know, not doing anything with Bridge. Just turn over some cards right now.
Though I do think playing a normal game of Magic is just fine.
Yep.
Looks like he's going to discard Bridge. Now he's going to flashback Cabal Therapy on Icarus. There will be a Bridge trigger. I mean, we'll see what happens here. You have to imagine Jones will have a response. Like the creative response would be to sacrifice the fetch land and kill your own monster in Swiss Bear to get rid of the bridge. But you're only getting rid of one bridge then.
And it's, you know, what's your follow-up from there?
Yeah.
You have no pressure in play. You have nothing going on. Moreno's at 17.
That's why this matchup is so tough.
Well, I feel like Glenn really needs young Pyromancer to build up enough of a board where he can start doing some of the creative plays that you're alluding to.
Yep.
But just with a singular threat, bolting it is an enormous cost. And it's not like Joseph has even flipped over much of substance in his graveyard. Glenn knows the subsequent dredges are going to get worse for him.
Mm-hmm.
Once more Narcomoebas and more therapies and more bridges start getting flipped over.
And we know more dredges are coming.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee. So Jones is going to sacrifice the Misty Rainforest here.
I mean, if he bolts his own Swiftspear, maybe that's the play he has to make because he can't beat the bridge right now. But I'm not sure if he's even equipped to beat the two Putridims and the Icarid coming back every turn.
Yeah, that's
much
the
less
big problem.
You know, Joseph's starting to find some really powerful cards off of his dredges.
He's going to kill his own Swiss Spear, though, to get rid of the bridge. So no token. Because once the resolution of the bridge trigger, when it checks, bridge is not there to actually give them the zombie.
Right.
And we'll see what Cabal Therapy is naming, because that still needs to resolve. Moreno hasn't done that yet. Looks like players may be asking a question, or Moreno's trying to figure out what card to name. Gotta take a look at his graveyard here. We'll see what he goes with. Jones going to show his hand. Oh, with Young Pyromancer.
I think that's the card I would have named too.
See a Treasure Cruise, a Lightning Bolt down there.
It's easily the card I'm most concerned about from Joseph. I feel like that's Glenn's only way to crawl back into this game in enough time.
Yeah, build a board with that creature.
Exactly. You can let Treasure Cruise and Bolt and Ponder. None of that really matters very much.
See Moreno writing down the cards there. Volcanic Island, Scalding Tarn, Lightning Bolt, and Treasure Cruise. Looks like 5 cards in the graveyard right now for Jones. The fetch line would be 6, so getting close to a very cheap Treasure Cruise. Moreno may be considering flashing back another Cabal Therapy, maybe to hit the Treasure Cruise.
Well, if you can get it off at a low cost, it's worth getting it because then it's Lightning Bolt against nothing.
He's going to discard Dread Return. He's just going to discard his hand.
Okay.
A little surprising there. Okay, here's a Cabal Therapy. Okay, makes sense. There's that. Take the Treasure Cruise.
Yeah,
I like that.
Exactly. Let's play Lightning Bolt against Putrid and my dredging.
Yeah.
If I'm Joseph, I'll play this game 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, me too. Jones going to take a look at the graveyard now. See exactly what he has to contend with. There are 2 less therapies down there, so none of those. No bridge, couple Icarids, couple dredgers. Looks like Jones drew another copy of Lightning Bolt. He's just going to pass the turn back. So Moreno's going to untap and draw a card here. It is time to dredge 6, I imagine. though Icarus triggers are on the stack. So now it's just time to decide if he wants to bring him back or not.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Putrid Imp going to bite the dust. There's that. There's the other Icarid. Doing a little math here. What happens if I lose my Stinkweed Imp? Probably not too much because we got the Putrid Imp in play.
He also has a Dark Blast in case something weird happens.
Yeah.
It's not like he's dead-ended. But he also might be thinking, I'm so far ahead, why take any needless risks? I can just pace this a little bit.
Because he has another black creature in the graveyard, he has a Thug. It feels like it's basically a freebie.
I feel the same way, too. I would get back the other Icarid.
He's going to, looks like he's going to dredge the Thug. That's a little surprising. I wonder what he's concerned with. There's Narcomoeba. Maybe he wants to dredge the Thug and just have it so it's a threat that he can cast. And start cluttering up the board that way.
Okay. Not unreasonable. I mean, it's another thing that Glenn has to answer.
Mm-hmm. And this also makes a little sense, too. Okay. Because I think the other thing he's going to try to do here is he wants to be able to dredge a creature that he can cast. If he hits Narcomoeba, it's perfect, because he wants to probably just dread return a Golgari Grave Troll. That's why he didn't dredge that, because Glenn, this deck can't be like a 5/5.
Right.
And that's all it takes. And so I actually think that might be the big plan here. He's got a dread return in the graveyard. He's got a Grave Troll in the graveyard. And if he says, sack my creatures, lose everything, dread return a Grave Troll, it's a 6/6. Go.
But it still seems like that's a bit of a needless risk against a deck that's packing some counterspells. When you can just Icarid, it feels like you can just Icarid Glenn out of this game.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a lot of ways to stop that.
There's an attack for 3.
In any event, I think Joseph's going to be hard-pressed to lose this game.
I think it's going to be pretty difficult, too. I think he's just so far ahead right now, and Glenn doesn't have any way to really interact with him to catch back up. So I think I do agree with you there. And now here is the dread return. There will be a Thug trigger. I'll have to put the Narcomoeba on top.
Combo City.
It really is. There's the big guy. 3, 4, 5. 5/5. And 5/5 is... It's funny to say it's huge against blue-red, but it is.
Well, they're all bolts.
Yeah.
No bounce spells. I mean, this is just now in play.
And it looks like it's actually a 6/6, but either way, that thing is gigantic. There's a Cruise. That comes off the top of the deck. That would give Jones actually a chance to get back into the game. Not sure how good the Treasure Cruise was. Must not have been very good. Yep. Must not have been very good. Justin Moreno going to win game number 1 here over Glenn Jones. Dredge up a game over blue-red Delver. As it is time to head back to the booth. It is trivia time. Patrick has the rules. That means I have the very difficult to answer question.
So Cedric's going to have a question for you. You're going to tweet your answer at SCG Live and include the hashtag SCG Premium. Of the correct responses, one will be selected at random for 6 months of Star City Games premium content. Is about accuracy and not speed, so don't worry about submitting your answer first, just accurately. And please bear in mind that this giveaway is run at the sole discretion of StarCityGames.com and that Twitch TV is in no way affiliated with contests or giveaways on its stream.
Grand Prix New Jersey, coming up in 2 weeks. It's all built around one card. It's on the playmat, it's on the sleeves, it's on the deck box, there's a pin. Some argue it's the best card in Legacy. Name that card the Grand Prix New Jersey is built around.
Anyone arguing otherwise is arguing nonsense. It is Legacy's best card.
It's not even really close.
Period, end of sentence.
Yeah, what he said.
I don't know what's second, but it's miles away.
It's this and then everything else.
Right,
I think that's how it goes. Hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live, and we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. Heading back to the match, take a look at the sideboards here. We will see that Glenn Jones does have a Curse Totem, a Cage, which is the big one, 2 Null Rods, a Needle, Sulfur Elemental, some Blood Moons, some Sulfuric Vortexes, and like Trickery, Pyroblast, 2 Smelts, and a Fork Bolt.
Well, not a lot to like here, to put it mildly. I like the Needle, and I like the Grafdigger's Cage. I think the Electrickery is fine as it gives them some interaction against Icarid. But we are struggling here. Glenn did not come with a lot of sideboard for this matchup, and I think it's going to show in games 2 and if we get there, game 3.
3 copies of Lotus Spell, 2 copies of Tormod's Crypt, an Ashen Rider, 3 Abrupt Decay, 2 Firestorm, an Iona, Shield of Emeria, Dread Return, and 2 copies of City of Brass.
So I guess the extra mana sources are coming in whenever he wants the abrupt decays to try to fight against things like Graftricker's Cage and so forth. I don't think he really needs to go to that. I think the Iona is reasonable to bring in as a reanimation target because it's likely game over against Glenn. But I think Joseph does not need to make huge changes to his deck.
I think the matchup is so good for him.
I think the Firestorms are fine to bring in. It's another outlet, and even if he's just using it to kill a Delver of Secrets, he can clean up a young Pyromancer that's been in play for a little while. I think Firestorms are fine.
Well, we do have an update for you guys on another match here. Storm versus Sultai Delver. We'll let you know. Randolph Gill, a fantastic Storm player, #1 overall seed, did win his match over Zach Wong playing lands, basically a bye for him. And then Jimmy De La Cruz, who's our Salty Delver player. Well, he beat Richard Liu playing Goblins. So,
Goblins, come on.
So basically both players got a bye in the quarterfinals. Is what happened there.
Just can't imagine the matchup's that bad for Goblins. And if that matchup's that bad for Goblins, why would you ever play the deck, you know?
What Goblin do we need? I've been thinking about this for a long time. Just don't know, man. That deck needs a rehaul too. And overall.
To say the least.
Yeah, it needs it all.
It needs to cut all the Goblins.
Yep, that's step one.
And then play with any cards you choose. Doesn't matter. But that's the starting point. We got to get all the Goblins out of the deck.
When you're really happy that like your big new card is Krenko Mob Boss, you need to reevaluate things just a little bit.
Yeah, and Legacy you get, oh sweet, a 4-mana 3/3.
Bug can't beat that. Look at that. You can't kill it. Sorry.
Well, it can't beat it.
Yeah, that's the big finish. You and your Sultai deck with your Abrupt Decays? I don't think so.
Yep, this is 4 mana, can't kill it, can't attack through it. It'll win the game in a couple turns.
Takes a little bit. Does take a little bit. It's embarrassing.
Whenever the spoiler gets posted, how many people out there do you think are going Control F for Goblins? How many Legacy
A
enthusiasts?
non-zero amount.
Yeah, it's got to be some people, right?
We're a small camp. Myself, Jim Davis, Max Teets.
Oh, there's a long list. Before Owen Turnwald was Owen Turnwald.
Yeah.
He was Owen Turnwald Goblin Master.
That's true. Jimmy De La Cruz, Salty Delver up a game here over Randolph Gill playing Storm. Treasure Cruz battling. Yeah, Owen Turnwald, runner-up, Grand Prix Columbus. 2006, I believe. Maybe 05, Flash GP. With Goblins. He was very good then. He is elite now.
Yep.
If you weren't sure if he was going to be really good, he got second in the Flash Grand Prix with Goblins.
With Siege Gang Commander in his deck. With frickin' Siege Gang Commander in his deck. He came in second.
What a shock that he's a great player.
You could kill people on turn 0 in that tournament. And Siege Gang Commander in his deck.
That deck was a delight.
A simpler time for Legacy.
It really was. Both players, I think, taking a look at their opening hand right now. Be surprised if Jones can get through this matchup. It does seem rough. I think the one thing that he needs to have happen is Joseph Moreno click the mulligan button a couple times.
Even then,
I mean, I'm not
Dredge.
saying if they keep. It's so hard to beat Dredge if they keep 7. Like if they have a pretty good 7-card hand, it's really hard to win. Here's a Delver.
yeah, definitely. That is true.
Like if they have 5, I feel like you can force the will their first thing and then maybe beat him down. But if it's 7, it's like jeez. Because part of what you sign up for when you play Dredge is that you will be mulliganing a decent amount during the day.
You have to mulligan very aggressively. In part because your hand needs specific things. And in part because it just doesn't matter.
Gemstone Mine. Just going to pass the turn back. Jones Delver doesn't flip. Here's Swiss Beer. I like it. We got to get aggressive.
Yep.
We got to try to give the beatdowns. What's next? Ponder. Trigger. That means Delver will likely be flipping next turn.
This is really rough if Joseph has Firestorm. I guess he doesn't. We probably would have seen it if he had it.
I guess that's true. Aptly named card.
Yep. Sort of an awkward design. When this card first came out, I know that a lot of people in my store were just like, okay, so you can just target your opponent 5 times on turn 1. Eventually, we figured out that's not exactly how the card works.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
It's like he's going to keep with Ponder, so we're good. Here's the attack for 3. Miranda's going to go down to 17. You can target your opponent 5 times.
Yeah, this is stupid. Guess I'll play Mountain Firestorm 5 times. Next game.
I will take a mulligan. All right, you're dead.
You're dead.
There's a Manic Influence. What did Moreno keep here? Didn't do
Yep.
anything on turn 1.
Turn 1 land go is suspect.
Keep 7 turn 1 land go? What's going on here? Here's a careful study.
Is he just showing respect for days?
That must be the case.
At that point, I would rather just probably discard the hand size on turn 1.
Maybe. Really depends on the texture of the grip.
Yeah, it's not straightforward, but
A couple of Grave Trolls. I think he's got a Faithless Looting here. Oh, Lotus Petal.
ho-ho.
He boarded those in, mind you.
Maybe this is also supposed to help with Firestorm.
Yeah. Here's a Faithless Looting. This allows him to play around days.
Ooh.
This is, yeah, 4 cards. This is really interesting.
There's a lot of cards coming off his deck this turn.
Yeah, that's good. Let's take a look at 6 cards. Bridge, Troll, Breakthrough, Troll, Dread Return, Narcomoeba, Trigger. That's coming back in a minute. Dredge this Grave Troll. It's a Therapy, a Careful Study, a Bridge, a Careful Study, a Firestorm, and an Narcomoeba.
Oh boy, it's a lot.
Big smile. I'd be happy too.
Yep.
Now he's got to discard 2 cards.
I think we'll see him discard the Grave Trolls, perhaps the Icarid.
2 bridges down there.
A Therapy also.
Yeah.
He can start doing some serious work this turn.
And he's just going to discard the Grave Trolls. So Looting did some really nice work there. And he even has 1 mana left over there because of the Lotus Petal. Don't know what he can do with it, though. Next turn, he'll have 3 mana, so he could flashback Faithless Looting.
And I think that he wants to save the Cabal Therapy for the turn where he's going to make his move. I don't know. I guess he'll fire it off right now.
Joe's going to take a look here.
Joseph announcing 2 bridges down there.
See if Glenn has any sort of response here. Couple of zombies, 1 Treasure Cruise, a Probe, a Swift Spear, and a land. Lightning Bolt was the name with the Therapy.
Pretty aggressive hand here for Glenn. He can start applying a lot of pressure, especially if he flips his Delver on this turn.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. A Swift Spear or a Free Gataxian Probe.
We know his Delver's going to flip because the Ponder.
Yeah.
So, unless something strange happened, like it's almost guaranteed to flip. So, there that is, another Probe.
2 Free Gataxian Probes.
Yeah.
So Swift Spear plus the other Swift Spear in hand. Got some 3/4s going.
Yeah. It's bad those zombies are in the way. It's probably a little annoying. Interesting game. I think Glenn's behind here a little bit.
But it's one of those games where Glenn has the hope of at least winning with the beatdowns.
Yeah, there's something that can happen. And really, that's his only plan in the matchup.
Yeah. Doesn't have enough graveyard hate to try to play the other way.
Yeah. Second Swift Spear. There's a Probe. He'll take 2 to cast it. See the grip here. Mr. Moreno, what are you working with? There we are.
The hand is who cares?
Yeah, basically.
That's not what's going on here.
It's a Thug, an Imp, an Icarid, and a Mana Confluence. So, yeah, it is basically who cares. Jones will cantrip there. Brainstorm the draw. We can have some fun here.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
The interesting thing is how much you're supposed to move in with the Swift Spears, because, you know, if you make them 5-power creatures, okay, I'll just block them both and move on with life, so. So Lightning Bolt to draw. It is certainly a little interesting.
Well, the bolt's really nice because it allows him to kill his own insectile apparition, or more likely a Swift Spear the following turn. So we can probably force some chump blocks this turn. And then if Joseph makes some sort of move that makes the bridges valuable, Glenn has the opportunity to break it up at a moment's notice.
And he's even getting closer to Treasure Cruise, too. So this deck can deal damage in bunches. We know that. Take a look at that graveyard one more time. All those grave trolls down there, 2 bridges. The therapy missed last turn, went for Lightning Bolt. Glenn has one now, though. There is a Scalding Tarn. And it looks like it might be time for the attack step. Yeah, everybody.
So if Joseph runs a no block, does he just die?
Yes.
It's just Brainstorm Bolt and he's dead.
Yep. They're 3-power creatures right now. So that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
5, 13 plus Bolt is 16. Yep.
Yeah. I would be very surprised if he didn't block, I guess. Because, you know, the zombies don't really provide a lot. There's Dread Return in the graveyard, but they don't really provide a ton. And, you know, this is almost basically like a free block, you know?
Yeah.
Now, what I wonder is how much is Jones going to move in here? Because he could deal a lot of damage. He can deal 14 damage this turn.
Well, the problem is that the bolt is his way to get out from the bridge on the other side.
Yep.
So that's the thing that's really risky to snap off here. I think there's an argument for casting a Brainstorm because you get the extra pumps. If you're looking at, let's say, another bolt, you know that you can just pass. Very likely to kill the next turn just with your 2 lightning bolts. And if you're in some trouble, well, then maybe you can bolt your own insectile apparition the next turn.
Yeah. I like casting the Brainstorm the most, and that looks like what he's going to do.
Just has to start here. The information's too valuable.
Yeah. So he's going to Brainstorm. Trigger both of the Swift Spears. Force of Will, Pyroblast, and a Treasure Cruise. That's interesting. So again, right now, those are 4 power creatures. So 8 damage is getting through. Force of Will is an interesting find here, actually.
It's a lot of insurance.
Yeah.
The Pyroblast can also play the role of a way to break up the bridge at a moment's notice.
Yep. He's going to tuck back a Treasure Cruise and a Lightning Bolt. Looks like, yeah, that'll be 8 points of damage. And the Narc Move is going to die, bridge triggers will happen. And it looks like not just yet.
Well, this is tough because Glenn does not have a lot of momentum. If he's going ahead and pyroblasting his insectile apparition here, does not have a lot of momentum left over when it's all said and done. The bridges are out of the graveyard, which is a victory.
Yeah, I mean, snagging 2 of those is actually pretty big. Yeah, like snagging 2 of those is pretty good. And then your opponent, Joseph, he has a Faithless Looting in his graveyard. They can flash back and it's a forcible for that.
Yep.
So it's an interesting game.
It's now, you know, Glenn has a lot of defense here, but his clock is reduced significantly, and he's still facing against the 2 zombies in play. So I like this turn for Glenn, but he is not out of the woods just yet.
He has to maybe try to fade a Dredge here. And what that basically equates to is, you know, fade your opponent drawing 6 cards.
Yep.
I'll see the 6 right now. It's a Coliseum, a Lotus Petal. quite sure what stopped this. We'll find out here in just a second. Okay, we're good. Lion's Eye Diamond, Stinkweed Imp, Thug, and a Narcomoeba. Last one, best one. More importantly here, no bridge.
Yeah.
And I think Joseph is out therapies right now. Now, the tough part here for Glenn is that the cards that he brainstormed, that he tucked away, Lightning Bolt and Treasure Cruise, they're both so good that it's almost like, man, this is one of the few times that you wish there wasn't a fetch land.
Exactly.
With the brainstorm.
You just had a basic, because leaving Bolt on top is really nice.
Yeah. Now, if Joseph doesn't flashback Faithless Looting, which it looks like he's about to, Glenn does have a Treasure Cruise in his hand. But he's going to flash it back. And I think that you got to counter this.
It's a lot of looks.
There's one Grave Troll, there's a Stinkweed Imp down there. I think it's you are basically forced. You know your opponent's hand from probe earlier, and now you know your opponent's graveyard. So you've got full information about what's going on. You know there's one Narcomoeba left in the deck, there are 2 bridges left in the deck, and it looks like there are no therapies in the graveyard. So I don't know if your Force Will is going to get any better than this.
Exactly. Well, the thing is also giving up Ancestral to do this is the cost.
It stinks.
Yep.
But I think that's what you have to do. So Jones is going to take 1. Force Will that, removing Treasure Cruise. And that stops Moreno's momentum for right now.
But Glenn is in a precarious position. I mean, if he just rips a land next turn, he's in a lot of trouble. Or even just a regular creature. I mean, he needs to keep stringing together cantrips or at least finding a bolt.
Ponder, Brainstorm.
Yeah, he needs that sort of stuff really badly.
Heck, even a probe. I think Moreno might be considering attacking here. Which is a little bit risky, I think.
Yeah. Because it allows, I mean, he can attack with 1 zombie, I guess, but this means that Glenn can keep attacking even if he misses a spell. And it's also possible for Joseph to just die this turn.
Yeah, I mean, probe into bolt. Something like that. I guess he's going to cast Dread Return. Okay, makes sense.
This is the plan. Gotcha. Yep. I was going to say, if he leaves himself with no blockers back, this is incredibly risky.
There's a big guy.
And Glenn has basically drawn the worst of both worlds, which is a spell he cannot cast.
This is Daze?
Yep.
Well, this is awkward. And pass the turn back. It's time to go dredging. There is a Grave Troll. 6 cards. Gemstone Mine, Cabal Therapy, Faithless Looting. 2 Faithless Lootings, an Icarid, and a Cephalid Coliseum.
Joseph's been very sharp in these games.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
It's going to get ugly now, though. There's a looting to flashback.
Well, I don't know if Joseph's going to want to pull the trigger on that because it's a lot of damage he has to take.
That's true. Well, I guess only 1, right? He's got 2 Mana Confluences, a Gemstone Mine, and a Lotus Petal. So he'd only have to take 1 if he wants to flash it back. Going down to 5. He's in double bolt range already. He would put himself into 4 bolt plus lightning bolt range. And, you know, the big issue here, I think, is he only has 1 more Narcomoeba to turn over. So how good can his dredge actually be?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, his Grave Troll is an 8-power creature with Jones at 9. So if that thing comes rumbling through, I think if you're Jones, you probably just have to let it through.
Can't block. That leaves Glenn with very little hope of winning.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try to set up the Thug moat. Because, well, seriously, it's not putting the Narcomoeba back on the top of the deck is big time trouble for Glenn. Just do this.
The Thug moat has been announced.
I like this.
Yeah. Now, I like the fact that Glenn could daze this to deal him 1. That's something that could be done.
But the flip side is Glenn may need to keep the daze in his hand so he can daze his own spell to get enough prowess triggers.
Yeah.
Really, it's intuitive magic.
Looks like he's going to... It looks like... He's going to daze to deal 1. He's going to pick up the land, too, which I like because of Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a point of damage, sir? It can also potentially prevent him from casting another spell, too. It's a creative play. Moreno's going to go down to 5.
No, I think I like mashing in with the Grave Troll here.
Boom.
Boom.
Glenn can't go down to 1 fast enough.
Can't win by blocking.
It's time to draw a card. Hi-ya! Is it Treasure Cruise? Don't have a good look.
It is
Craft Digger's
Craftigger's
Cage. Not you. Trigger prowess.
a little late to the party.
I don't know if I...
Nope, you can't do that
Yep.
because he'll kill you.
Yep. That attack is like... So it's crazy. I guess he knows the card in his hand. Never mind.
Exactly.
Never mind.
He
it's
knows
all
he
kind of- okay,
knows
never
it's
mind.
a land.
Some sort of crazy bluff that I have
Yeah.
a lightning bolt, which I think would just be great.
Listen, I love a bluff as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
That's not a great spot to pick a bluff.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It might slow up a little bit.
I know the contents of your hand, so I guess I'll not block.
We're going to take a look at the graveyard. Looks like he might dredge here, though. He does have Icrid down there.
Oh, you can cast a Thug. He can also just take a draw step if he wants to, I guess.
Yeah.
If it finds Firestorm, he wins the game, so I don't know how much merit there is to dredging at this point. I don't know if there's anything to find.
Yeah, I'm not sure dredging is all that great. I do like returning Icrid, I believe. Yep, he's going to remove... He's actually going to dredge Thug. Okay. So there's a bridge, a breakthrough, a Cabal Therapy, and a Coliseum. Oh, right. Can't bring back Icrid, obviously. There's a
Yeah.
cage in play. My apologies. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think I would have just taken a draw step there, unless he's already milled over all of his Firestorms.
Thump. It's crazy to think that Jones can actually still win this game.
Yeah, no, there's running draws.
If he draws, he has a land in his hand. If he draws Brainstorm, he can draw 2 bolts.
Yep. He can also cruise into 2 bolts.
Yeah. The slow peel. Yep, those are lands. And that is going to do it. Joseph Moreno wins this match over Glenn Jones. 2-0. Dredge on to the finals. Overall, a good matchup for Dredge.
Yeah, Glenn has very little in the way of hate, and not a good game 1, so not a surprise to see the outcome that we saw.
Congratulations, Joseph Moreno. Great run for Glenn Jones. Comes up a little short.